Okay, Hell Divers, welcome back to another video, and let's talk about the new war bond so far. Now, I have currently all the weapons unlocked, so let's start with the new thermite grenade. Now, how I envisioned it before this new war bond came out with thermite was that it burns away armor from armored enemies, heavy armored enemies to be exact, or it could be also good when it burns away at the weak spots of an enemy, like a Bio Titan or a Charger. The thermite grenade that we got doesn't do any of that. For Chargers, maybe I was at the wrong angle. You know, it probably depends on where you're standing at when you toss the thing at a Charger, but it doesn't seem to stick on effectively to legs of a Charger. And it'll just bounce right off and it'll catch, like, say, the top of it or its face, and it'll just burn at it, edging the Charger. And us Hell Divers, we have to be efficient, especially running Hell Dive, trying to manage hordes, maybe occasional stalkers that'll come out at you, or, a bug breach call from a little roach somewhere around you. This thing is not great at any of those things. And the burn process lasts just entirely too long for my taste. Now, when you do manage to successfully latch on to a Charger, it'll just, edge it. Hey, I'm doing just a little damage to you. I'm kind of burning you a little bit. I don't want that for us Hell Divers. Why waste your time with that when you could just use the impact grenade and get them out of there real quick? You'll be surprised. One or two quick tosses with an impact grenade can get a Charger out of the picture real quick over the thermite grenade. Now, the upside for the thermite grenade, it can close holes. Okay. Now it's a delayed close, a delayed close from from the delayed detonation. Who wants that? Seriously, who wants that? That's like saying, okay, let me give you an example. Bam, you wandered into the territory of a stalker lair, right? You take out one or two of them, you make it up there. You toss in a thermite grenade. The detonation fuse lasts entirely too long, so one is able to escape and then get up on you. Now you're gonna be taken off guard because one escaped and it licks you and tossed you and knocks you on your ass. Now what? When you could have just popped a impact grenade in there, or hell, even a regular grenade, a regular hand grenade, and call it a day. I wouldn't suggest any Hell Diver waste their time with the thermite grenade if it doesn't even burn away the armor of heavy armored enemies and create weak spots. It can't even do that. And then you're gonna be wasting them on armored enemies because they're not dying. Because I'm willing to bet that majority of Hell Divers, when they use a grenade, they expect it to be effective at finishing off heavy armored enemies. That way you can conserve your ammo, because the ammo economy is already not that great. The R36 Eruptor, it is what's the word for it? It is a prototype bolter. It's the closest thing we're ever going to get to a bolter weapon from the Warhammer universe. Why they chose to go with the design of it being bolt action reload when it could have just been a Jar 5 heavy hitting explosive, extremely slow firing rate, that's okay. But to then go into a long goofy animation of, doing the bolt action animation, I can't get with that. And then it's already heavy to aim this thing. Is very sluggish. So your best bet is to run with the armor piece that gives you plus 30 to recoil control. That is always a plus. It's really hard trying to lead shots with this thing. It's pretty decent when it comes to crowd control. So that's a plus. That's a plus. Any type of crowd control is good crowd control in my book. However, you're gonna have to, if you want to use this weapon, you cannot shoot this thing on the go. You have to plant your feet, crouch, or lay down and fire this weapon, because any type of movement is just gonna be all over the place. And when you shoot, and then another thing, the scope for this thing, however, is misaligned a bit. So you have to keep that in mind as well if you're gonna aim through the scope through first person. The rechamber animation is a bit wonky. So if you shoot this thing, you have to let the animation go all the way through when it comes to rechambering the round. You can't shoot, stage the rechamber, and then swap to your secondary You can't do that because you're still going to be locked in to doing the rechamber animation. That might need to be fixed on their part. I don't know if they're aware of that issue. I'm hoping they get that fixed quick. It cannot take out mushrooms effectively, if any. It cannot take out shrieker hives. It can close bug holes. It can take out processing plants, what I call them, or fabricator stations. It can take those out. However, trying to shoot this thing, now this is on controller. I know it's different for people on PC, but trying to shoot this thing at airborne enemies, such as gunships and shriekers, you're gonna have a horrendous time. I wouldn't recommend you going for that. Unless they get a little bit close for the like swooping in, cool. As far as gunships, go ahead, put it down. I'm sorry. I hope you have an anti-material rifle as a support backup. That would be an excellent option to run with. It is really good against mech enemies. Not so great against an enemy Bruce. That's a bruiser for short. It's good at hitting the weak spots of bug enemies. It's really good at hitting the weak spots from a cannon turret and a tank, or even the mortar turrets that the enemies have in automaton bases. And when it comes to hitting charges, it's excellent against charges. You could potentially 1-tap, 2-tap, all the way to, I believe, 5 being the max to get a charge out of the way. Bio Titans, again, my veterans out there, you know when I say it's always best to aim at the belly. Get the belly out of the way, removes its ability to vomit, and weakens it considerably. That way you can drop a hell bomb on it, get it out the way, or you're lining up a hell bomb for 2. That works too. I would say that's where it ends using this weapon. Ammo capacity, that's another thing. The ammo capacity for this thing, I believe it's the smallest in the game. Right next to the grenade pistol. Right next to the grenade pistol and the exploding crossbow. You're going to have to contend with having a low ammo count when using this weapon. 5 shots is all you get before a reload, before a lengthy reload. Keep that in mind. In any case, do not ever just leave one. Don't ever leave one round in the magazine. Empty the magazine before reload, because you're still going to be locked into the rechamber animation once you get the magazine back in. It's just going to happen regardless. Each bullet is hard hitting. Make the most out of it. Pick your shots. Also, please respect the blast radius from the Eruptor's rounds. Please respect it. Please do not try to shoot this thing at medium or a certain range when an enemy gets closer. It's always smart to switch to your secondary. Or aim at the ground behind the bug. Because if you do it within a certain range, you are going to be taken off your feet. And instead of getting knocked backwards, you're going to be sucked in when you're taking off your feet. That's bad. No one wants that. No one wants to have the distance closed even more between you and the enemy, especially the bugs, especially when there's a patrol or a horde mixed in with hunters. You don't want that. Or mixed in with hunters and brood commanders. Please, I'm going to say it again. Please respect the blast radius of this weapon. If you're going to use the Eruptor, you must have a strong class built around this thing. Now, when it comes to the bots, what I would recommend, if you're going to run with the Eruptor, what I would recommend, the Cluster Strike, the Eagle 1 Cluster Strike, KG Bomb, Ammo Pack. If you're running by yourself, you can take out the Ammo Pack and swap it with the Las Rover or a Shield Generator Pack, of course. That can be the other go-tos. A EMS Mortar, along with stun grenades, because you're already doing crazy amounts of explosive damage with the Eruptor. And you want to slow down enemy advancement. Stun grenades, EMS Mortar. However, with the automatons, you're going to have to run with the Eagle Strike with the missiles. You're going to run with an EMS Mortar. Again, a backpack of your choosing between the 3. That being an ammo pack, portable shield pack, a Las Rover. And lastly, anti-material rifle. Oftentimes, you're going to be dealing with fabricators that's going to be spewing out gunships. And I do not recommend that you use the eruptor against airborne enemies. I'm mainly talking about controller players. Trust me when I tell you that. The grenade pistol. It's a pretty strong, solid option to run with on Hell Dive difficulty. Can take out bug nests, no problem. It's got, again, pretty decent crowd control, but I wouldn't even take it for that. I just strictly take it for, I would just take it for closing bug holes. Now, you could probably also use it for combating the weak spots of a Bow Titan and a Charger. But this is just how I use the grenade pistol because of my loadout that I go with. It is not, I'm thinking the grenade pistol would also be good for fabricators. Over on the automaton side, it's really not. I'm surprised by it. It's unable to take out a fabricator unit both through the vent or when the door is open. I'm surprised by that. I only got lucky like one time taking out a fabricator station with the grenade pistol. Cool part about this thing, when you first come down and you swap to the grenade pistol, you get 2 shots. You get 2 shots before you have to reload it one at a time. So make use with that tip as you will. Exploding crossbow, I can't recommend this weapon for anybody. Unless you just want to go with it just cause, have some fun. Do that. Though it's going to be kind of difficult on Hell Dive difficulty. It can close bug holes, of course. But don't waste your time with fabricator units over in the automaton section. Can't do any of that. Slow rate of fire, slow reload animation, decent crowd control. The only amazing part is clearing eggs on bug clear mission. And what I mean by that is the egg missions where you have to go inside and shoot the eggs and get them out the way. That's where it excels at. However, I can't even recommend that because if we're going to, coming from a competitive standpoint, if you want to have a competitive choice, I say stick with the Plasma Punisher. It can do the exact same thing. Or the Plasma Scorcher. Both excel at doing the exact same thing, except that the Plasma Punisher and the Plasma Scorcher have better ammo capacity, better ammo reserves, better rate of fire. Both have good damage and decent ad control. That's just another food for thought. Do with that as you will, Hell Diver. And last but not least, I would consider to be one of the trashiest weapons in the game. And this is, I'm talking about the Adjudicator. This thing has no business being in the game. We're talking about pretty mediocre damage, a trash magazine capacity. It can shoot between 2 modes, single fire and burst. It doesn't even excel at either categories. When you it doesn't excel at either of those options. You either turn it, you either use the single fire option, use it as is as a marksman rifle. It doesn't excel there because you have the other 2 marksman rifles that do better damage. And I do believe better ammo capacity, or able to be efficient with ammo and also doing more damage than the Adjudicator. And I know you're thinking, oh, but you can 2-tap an automaton mech to the face. Okay, just about any other weapon can do that. The Scorcher can do that. The Jar 5 can do that. Both hit harder. Both got pretty good ammo efficiency if you know how to use the weapons. And I'm just talking about the energy and the Jar 5 weapon over the Adjudicator. And better recoil control over this thing. You try to change it to burst, it's not even a good AR. You might as well just use an AR. You might as well just use a penetrator over this thing, or a liberator, or the liberator concussive, instead of wasting your time with this weapon. And all 3 of those ARs have better ammo capacity than the Adjudicator. In my opinion, this is coming from a person that strictly runs Hell Dive. This weapon ain't it. How is it that in the year 35, whatever, 100 years removed from the first Hell Divers game, we have enemies that are kidnapping people and putting them through processing machines to make more, to go against Lady Liberty. And you mean to tell me the people in the R&D department, the best they can cook up is a weapon that can't excel as an AR or a marksman rifle? You have war machines that have tanks with heavy laser cannons on top. A walking fabricator that has a laser cannon strapped to the bottom of it. You have fabricators that are churning out gunships. You have enemy bruisers strapped with rockets and flamethrowers and buzzsaws. And you mean to tell me the experts can cook up is a weapon that can't do either things that it was created to do. Us Helldivers are dying out there in the field, but we get an adjudicator. Come on now. I'm thoroughly convinced whoever's in the R&D department or whatever is running the R&D department has to be just a group of monkeys, because this isn't it. This isn't it at all. Then let's talk about the armor in this game. Oh, before I get to armor, I want to talk about the Plasma Scorcher. If you are going to use a marksman rifle, the Plasma Scorcher is low key a marksman rifle, and it's really good at it. This thing is amazing at dealing with mech warriors on the automaton section, both the shield boys and the rocket boys, and taking out weak spots of cannon turrets, tanks, you name it, with the weak spot. Over on the bug section, and I can't believe I slept on this weapon. Over on the bug section, you use a stun grenade, and you use this thing. You can easily take out in one clip, in less than a clip. You can take out the weak spot of a charger before it comes out of the stun animation from a stun grenade, and then it bleeds out. No problem. And you move on. That is amazing what this thing can do. And I hope they never nerf it. Please. This has been an amazing choice that I've been running with in my kit. Now I might do a loadout video next. I might do it. Now I want to talk about the armor in this game. Oh my goodness. I can't agree with the armor system in this game. I can't get with it. Now that I've just paid attention to it more and more. The disparity between picks between light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor is a disparity. Medium armor truly is S tier to pick over light armor or heavy armor. There truly is no competitive choice when medium armor has everything you can find. And I'm talking about passives on light armor or heavy armor. Especially when you have where is it? Especially when you have an armor passive like Democracy Protects with 50% chance to not die when taking lethal damage, on top of having prevents all damage from bleeding if chest hemorrhages. So you can tank hell bombs, you can tank explosives from enemies, you can tank grenades, you can tank whatever, a KG bomb, and still be alive. That's wild. That is amazing. You can't find that on light armor, you can't find that on heavy armor. It would go good with heavy armor. It would make picking heavy armor a competitive choice if you want to mix it up and not run medium armor all the time. Not having a wider variety of armor passives between the armor variants, especially when you have medium armor that's in more of an abundance, both in a war bond and in the superstore. You're sold more medium armor than light armor and heavy armor. Now I'm actively not participating in buying newer armor sets from the superstore because they're coming with the same armor passives that I already have on other armor suits. And I get it, it's just for cosmetic purposes. Cool, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I would just suggest, can we just get a wider selection of armor passives? That's what I would say. For example, with the med kits, the med kit passive for med kit suits. Now I don't know, I haven't tested it, but I'm assuming that if you use the armor passive that it comes with med kit, you can also use it for teammates. That's what I'm assuming. But if you can't, that's pretty bad. Heavy armor, I think heavy armor should, the armor rating should also extend to the helmet. I don't know if they did change it so it can do that, but I don't play with heavy armor. I want to play with heavy armor. Heavy armor, I think, looks really cool. To have such a drawback when it comes to have the speed drawback to be that steep of a trade-off for 50 more armor. I don't know. I can understand if it was 200 armor and 450 speed. Okay, I can understand the trade-off. But to only have an extra 50, that doesn't really seem all that much. That doesn't seem a big of a difference between 100 and 150, especially when you're going against the automatons, or you get 2 critical hits from a bug, and they can do critical hits. I don't think that it's that good of a choice over medium armor. And heavy armor looks really nice, especially the new heavy devastator armor that's in the new war bond looks really, really nice. I want to run it, but I don't see the big appeal when it just comes with fortified. I can get fortified on medium armor. Hell, I can probably get fortified on light armor. In fact, I know I probably can. If you can, viewer, if you can understand where I'm coming from when it comes to heavy armor, I want to enjoy heavy armor. It'd be a nice mix up, from the regular medium armor picks every time, or even the light armor picks. If we could just get more variety when it comes to armor passives, a much better pick rate for heavy armor in the future, if they do decide to go that route. Right now, I've just been sticking away from picking heavy armor, and I do want to rock some of this heavy armor. I do, but when you don't really want to do that if you pick a planet like, a frozen planet, and they drop that blizzard on you. You're gonna be in a world of trouble. And I get it. They got the strong leg where you can navigate tougher terrain, but you're not really gonna see that big of a difference using heavy armor. And I get it. You could double up. You can do the little glitch. I don't know if they patched it where you can have double of the same booster to give an even more of a boost to movement or sprint speed and stamina and terrain traversal, but not a lot of people is just, doing that together. So that's what I mean. If they could just buff up the speed and stamina a bit, or you can leave the stamina regen as it is and just buff up the speed a bit more, that'd be cool. Or just buff up the armor rating. That way we can tank more shots, or reducing the critical hits from enemies. That would be even better. And keeping the critical hits for light armor and medium armor as it is. If you just buff up one of those 3 things, it's either buff up the damage reduction from critical hits, or buffing up the armor rating minus the fortified commando armor set, because that's at 200 because of the passive. Or if we could just see extra padding as a passive on more heavy armor suits with an extra armor passive with it, like, extra explosive damage reduction, that would be nice. And third, if you just want to boost the speed a bit, 455, 470, or 465, something like that. That would be nice. That would be nice. Now we're starting to get just a bit competitive. Maybe I want to rock heavy armor. Maybe I want to be a walking tank out here, a walking juggernaut, tanking hits. That would be nice. A bit more mobility. For example, you could drop a heavy armor that comes with the exo passive, where we have prosthetic legs. That and in there you could justify buffing up speed to 500 or 515 because you have bionic legs with heavy armor. You could keep that passive and not add another passive to it. That would still be a good choice. But if you like the video, comment down below your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.